Disclaimer: this is raw and dirty premiere of my unedited Craft and Blab footage. What that really means is I get tired of always editing and am too chicken to go live. There will be no editing of mistakes, heat drying, or any snarky comments. There will be lots of messes and opinions that are my own. This is raw footage of the dirty paintbrush in her own habitat. Love y'all, Dirty P.
Hello everybody, here I am, the little dirty paintbrush, raw and unedited, back in the craft dungeon. I have to tell you guys, I have just burnt myself out editing videos, and I still have 2 or 3 of the dirty journals that need edited before I can post them. And I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the camera while I'm doing some envelope-y painting. I've got some envelopes to get painted and decorated because I'm going to have some stuff going out for a couple swaps, and I want to get better at getting stuff, put together ahead of time, getting some envelopes decorated, getting some embellishments made, that kind of jazz. That way, when needed, I have things ready to go, and I can start getting some more Happy Mail out. I'm real bad about that, real bad. So yeah, I kind of had changed the way I had been doing videos here for a while. Which is I will just turn the camera on and record when I'm doing something, but I won't talk really. I mean, except for, talking to myself, whispering, I can't believe you messed that up, or how dumb can you be, or that looks stupid, to myself. But it was too hard for me to try to do videos and talk, which I like to do because I'm a yacker and I like to run my trap, my trap yap. And it's not as much fun when I can't sit here and be a snark tart. So, but the reason why I'd kind of been switching over and doing it that way was because every time I try to make a video, I was getting interrupted, and there was always a child or an animal or a husband or something, somebody needed something. And it got to the point where I was, not able to really do it as easily anymore. Why in the heck do I always put my trash can 500 feet away from me? And then every time I go looking for it, I can't find it. There it is. Okay, now it's behind me. What the heck? So yes. And this distracted thing that I get all the time. That helps nothing. So the point is that I started just turning the camera on and recording when I was working in my journal, because I've been kind of in my art journal kick, trying to get the pages full in my voluptuous violet so I can kind of move on to do some other things. And yeah, so it's easier for me to just turn it on and record and not do audio, not do the talking, because I could just go back and pull the audio out, throw a music track in, and edit out things like the drying and all that stuff, So that's kind of what I have been doing lately. And, I kind of have fun editing the videos too, because that is also a creative process to some extent. I want to use cool transitions and pick out music that kind of goes with the theme or whatever. And so it takes me forever to watch my videos and edit them. And so last night I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to like come back and do a in the raw version again because I would just like to work on some stuff and yak and then not have to do a lot of editing and just throw it up there is what I'd like to do. So that's what I'm doing. I have no itinerary of what I'm doing. I'm just working on stuff and you know, there's no it's going to be totally in the raw. So stuff might look like crap because I won't be saving you from the torture of my erroneous ways. So this is the dirty crafting in the raw here. So this is one of those old, you know, from the scrapbooking days, one of those old like layout thingies, deluxecuts.com. You know, that you could lay down on your scrapbook page and then, you know, put your pictures here and your journaling here, line everything up. This, you know, this was one of the reasons why um, I really got out of scrapbooking because everything had to be so freaking perfect and aligned and yeah. That's not me. I am not perfect and aligned. I am chaotic and messy and yeah. So I just decided to go ahead and keep it and use it, you know, whatever, for stencil type stuff or however it works out. So I'm just kind of doing my jam. I'm doing my thing. You know, I feel like I haven't done anything on the back of these yet. That's alright. It's all good. I just got some spring colors of paint out and decided that, and I've got some of this paint that I really want to use up. I've had it for a while and I'm just ready to get it used up and either replace it with some of the Artist Loft, not Artist Loft, the Master's Touch tube paint. I like to buy it when it's on sale. Ooh, that's really runny. What happened there? I don't know. I shook it. I shook it. So, yeah. So I just decided I'd go ahead and use it up and get these envelopes decorated up so they're ready to go. I have a junk jar swap that I signed up for. I didn't miss the sign up for that one. And since I missed the sign up for the Flocking Friends swap this month, I decided I'd go ahead and sign up for something else. So I caught the junk jar swap on over at Let's Make a Mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. That way I feel like I'm being productive. And my niece is so nice because she's also doing the friendship flock swap. And yeah, so I already got some of the H in there. I'm real bad about word stencils because I'm so messy with it that it just ends up everywhere. So this one's going to have part of an H in it. Oh my gosh. I think I had too much paint on my sponge the first time. Part of the problem is these sponges are like super tiny. So it's really hard for me to hold on to them, but I can't find the foam makeup rounds at Walmart right now. They like do not have them. I don't know if they stopped carrying the foam rounds because the rounds would work a little better for me. I do not have good luck with stencils and paint brushes. I have better luck with stencils and sponges. So that's how that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this off back here. I say clean it off. I'm smushing it down. According to Laura Sullivan, I'm using the word smush in a non-copyrighted way. However, I would like to add that smush is apparently spelled with a U. Thank you, Laura. I always spelled it with two O's. Now I'm in the know. I am in the know. Um, so using smush as a general, well, verb in this case. It would not be an adjective in this case. Right, now we're getting too serious. Too serious. Too serious. What's funny is that I had put another layer of gesso on my little rooster that I want to put in my flock swap journal. You can see there on the stencil, or on the wax paper. And so when I was working on this envelope, it printed off on the envelope, and I love it. And now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to cover it up. Maybe I can figure out a way to not have to cover it up. I don't know. I don't usually dig the manila color, but there are times that I can kind of work it in. So normally when I wipe off my stencils, I go ahead and do it on my project and just let the, I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm making something like super fancy, which you'll never see me make anything super fancy because I would ruin it. But there are times, then I obviously wouldn't do that. But most of the time, I like it when my stuff looks a little grungy, a little shabby. I'm going to knock over every bottle of paint on my desk because that's what I do. That is what I do. I am a mess. And I don't just mean with the paint. I'm a mess with everything. So usually what I do is I just kind of wipe off my stencils in another little spot. And it just, whatever you're wiping off just goes on to what you're working on. And then you're not wasting anything. And, it's great. So I'm getting all kinds of colors off of this stuff. And they just make little marks for you. I have a piece of trash right there, and I'm so OCD that I have to move it, even though it is not hindering my ability to do things. Well, it is because I'm OCD and I have to move it. So, anywho, yes. So we're just messing around, and I missed yakking because I love yakking to you guys, and I think that I would have a great time if I did live streams, but I feel like that I think it's kind of stressful because I'd like to make sure that I acknowledge and talk to everybody that would be watching me, because I feel like that's part of connecting with people, and that's ultimately what I want to do. So I kind of feel like if I really want to connect with people, that I should try to do some live streams. But I tell you, I don't know. There's some cat hair. I think it's already been painted on. So whoever gets this envelope will get a little bit of Mimi right along with it. So where I was going with that is that, I might try it. I might try doing a live stream. I would have to do it when everybody's gone, because otherwise I would get interrupted, which I guess is okay, because, I watch a lot of other people that do some live streams, and it's okay to get up and tinkle and go grab a drink, and I guess if my kid comes in here singing his country love song, he's in love, he's got a girlfriend. I guess if he comes in here singing, I can just make that part of the entertainment. I don't know. But I think that I wouldn't get anything done, so I don't know that it would be fun from that aspect for anybody, because the whole point of coming in is to watch me do crafting. And then I also just don't know how I can set because my computer is a little ways away, and for people with normal eyesight that aren't half blind like I am, it's not a problem. But I'm guessing that I would have to have, I guess I could use my tablet, but even then it would be harder for me to see. I can't see real well. I could figure out how to magnify it on the tablet, or all I have to do really is turn the laptop around. I about stuck my arm in that paint, which is fine. If I turned the laptop around and faced it more towards me, I could leave it over there where it's at and pull up the little Windows magnifying glass over the chat, and then I could probably sit here and be able to read the chat. Because I feel like, that's what I would be doing. Because the way I'm talking, I'm chatting like y'all are right here watching me right now. And I know that, by the time this gets posted, it'll probably be, way later, like the next day or something. So, yeah. Let's get real efficient here and do two together. So I got this great now I'm really wanting to I was able to watch a little bit of Laura's stream over at the Jersey Crafter today, and she's making fabric tape, and it's so gorgeous. And I've got all of these awesome well, first of all, I've got some scrap quilt pieces. My great grandmother, see, my dad's grandmother, so that was my great grandmother, made my dad a quilt when he was young, and he's had it ever since. Well, he went and had it repaired not long ago because there were some parts on it, that were coming undone, falling apart, whatever. And the lady repaired the quilt, did a great job, replaced, some of it with new pieces of fabric, whatever, and sent him home with, see, that's not at all lined up, but that's okay. It's fine. Don't become anal. Don't become the anal scrapbook chick. It's all good. It's all about eye candy. Yeah, so I've got this bag of scrap from the quilt, and I've already used some of it in one of my journal pages. If you've seen the Take 5 April video, I like to play along with the girls that do the Take 5 um, art challenge thing. There's a group of about 8 or 10 ladies that they do a prompt every month, or they do 5. They pick out. Oh my God, they take turns picking out. Sorry, like 5 different prompts a month, and then they all use those prompts and do their take on it and make. Usually it's an art journal page, but pretty much they'll do whatever they want. But most of the time it's an art journal page. So anyway, I did that and used some of that quilt. I felt like using some of that quilt scrap on that, and so I did, and I really liked how it turned out. I love the texture that fabric adds to pages, and I just like the meaning behind this particular fabric. And I've also got a whole box of super old handkerchiefs, whatever, that belonged probably to, I know my mom, but I'm guessing they may have belonged to her mom or even her grandmother. So on my mom's side. And so I've been thinking forever, like, what am I going to do with those? Because right now they're in a box, and I was thinking I wanted to do something with them, like, in an art project or in some kind of journal or something that I'm going to keep. I thought about even making like a little, like using them and making a pretty little banner, like using them and maybe folding them in such a way over some twine or something, like folding them in triangles, and hanging them up. But then I thought, ooh, I wonder if I could use those to make some fabric tape, which I could. I'm not entirely sure if that's the way I want to go with those, because I would just turn around and use it probably in one of my projects that I'm going to keep. But something like that, I don't want to send out to anybody else because it has a little bit of sentimental value. So I'm trying to decide. I still think that if I just got up off my lazy butt and made the little, the little banner thingy, that it would be, pretty. But Um, you know how that goes. So yeah, more stencil stuff, definitely. I think I'm gonna do some circles. I don't know if where's the other color that I got out? The coral color. I swear, maybe that's what I thought this was. That is pink. Okay, here are a couple. You know, and what I really need, I've got one orange paint that I like, which is my Delusions paint. And it's a little fluorescent-y, which is not an issue. But I need a real good, true orange. Do I have any orange gouache? Totally off topic. Either way, I don't have any orange acrylic that's good. I have a couple of oranges, and they are just so not opaque. What is the word that I'm thinking of? They're very see-through. I have one bottle of enamel, which I know now. I know now that that is supposed to be uh, not opaque. I believe. At first, I thought that maybe that because I think I was trying to paint a bottle or something, a clear plastic bottle with orange paint. When I was I was making like poison bottles. I made a little bit of my own home decor, which for Halloween, which was like I took a wooden tray and painted it black, and then I took a bunch of old little bottles that I had been saving and painted them and put some poison labels on them that I found free on the internet. And I don't know why I'm getting out a paintbrush because I'm not going to do a stencil with a paintbrush. I was like, where's the paint that I just poured out? Oh my gosh. So, anywho, I think the whole point of that was that I was trying to get to. I have no good orange. I painted this bottle like 1,500 times with this orange paint, and I could just never get it. Maybe part of it was because it was plastic, and I was trying to paint on plastic without gesso because it's not porous at all. So it just didn't turn out good. So I guess maybe I need to play with the orange on paper and see if it's really as bad as I'm making it out to be, or but I feel like I need some better orange paint. That's all I'm saying. And that came up because I stood up to get this color of paint that I thought that I got in the first place and brought down here, and then I looked up at my orange paint and went, yeah, that paint sucks. So, yeah, this is another instance of a stencil that was originally trash. It like came in a box. It was holding pieces down or something. I don't know. Probably came in an IKEA box. I don't honestly remember. But I've got a couple of them. And I thought, hey, rather than, throwing it away, I'll just keep it. And then I got, circle stencil. So I love stencils. I want more stencils because I love them. And I like to do a lot of like mixed media on everything I do. So pretty much any envelopes or journal pages or tags or ATCs or whatever the flavor of the day is. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be doing some kind of mixed media background and using a stencil. So stencils are not cheap usually. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm trying to get the rest of the paint off this sponge, I guess. Stencils are usually not very cheap, and I want one of every single stencil. It's just one of those deals. So everything that I can possibly use as a stencil, I like save it. So every time I cut anything out with the Cricut machine, I'm like saving the leftover that I've cut out from, if it'll work, I'm saving that and using that as a stencil. Um, yeah, it's amazing to me how expensive stencils are. Oh my gosh, some of them are outrageous. But I keep thinking I want to join the and see, I'll just put this right back on top of wet paint because it'll just, here's that word again, it'll just smush from the wax paper to my envelope on the other side, and then I'm automatically going to have the start of something on the other side of my envelope. So I like to do that. It uses up the paint, and it, you know, adds something to the other side. So there you go. So, oh, see, what was I talking about? Uh-oh. I just knocked over my spray bottle of Murphy's. I still have not found the cap to my glue. Now, I know I have complained about this before, but I bought this glue even when I still had plenty in my other bottle, because it's one of those always ready bottles, right? And like the second time I used it a couple weeks ago, I took the lid off, set it down, did something, and then I had to go upstairs quickly because the dog was freaking out. And I don't know. I was trying to figure out what was going on, so I just walked away from it, came back several hours later, no lid to be found. I thought, okay, maybe the cat, maybe it fell on the floor, the cat knocked it around, it's in the other room somewhere. I mean, she does that all the time with my ponytail holders. She loves playing with the little hair ties, so my daughter and I, if you put them anywhere where she can jump up, she will knock that thing on the floor and, paw it all around. But usually, it stays in the same room. It stays somewhere where you can see it. I checked the whole basement, under the furniture, all my drawers in here, everywhere I could possibly think of looking. And I have still never found this stupid lid to that paint. And I'm so upset about it because paint, not paint, glue. I'm so upset about it because I want it to sit like this. That way it's always ready. Now it can't sit like that. So an empty glue bottle lost its lid and it went on here, at least so that it won't dry out. So I store it on its side, but I want to store it vertically, and I'm so upset that I lost the stupid, I just can't believe that I literally had that glue open like twice, and I've already lost the stupid, this stupid lid. How do I manage? I just want to know how do I manage to function, like to wake up in the morning and, do adult things like get ready for work and then get myself to work and then work? Like, how do I even manage to do any of that? Some days I wonder. I do, because it is literally scary sometimes to think how I have been able to survive this long with such a scattered brain. Yeah, I love that stencil. It is like one of my favorite. I don't know what that looks like, some metallic kind of paint that looks like some texture gel or something mixed with paint. I was like, I don't know what that is on top of that sponge. Is probably, well, at least on that side, it's not going to be useful. Pretty much every time I go to Walmart, I buy another package of these wedges, whether I need them or not, because I figure I'm terrible about washing things, washing my supplies, thus the name, the dirty paintbrush. Partially, that's partially the reason for the name. The other part of the reason is because I have a gutter brain. But I'm trying to keep it clean for you guys because, I respect that some people don't appreciate that sort of humor. And it may pop out once in a while, and I'm so sorry if it does. If you can handle it, I'd love you to stay around. If it's just something that's impossible for you to deal with, I understand, and I'm very sorry. But that's how I roll. And I did say this was a raw video today, so yeah. That's just kind of how it is for me. So, yeah. Anywho, I'm terrible at cleaning things, so I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to use these as much as I can possibly use them until they're like completely crusted over with paint gunk, and then I'm just going to throw them away because they're cheap. Ooh, I love mixing that kind of, what is this color? Peach? No, that isn't it. Is this it? melon. Oh, melon yellow, mellow yellow. There we go. That mellow yellow is looking pretty snazzy if I don't say so. If I don't say so myself. Does that make sense? If I say so myself. Yeah, it's just, it's so washed out. Can you really see that color? To me, it just looks like that light. Maybe I need to turn that lamp down again. That's what I did last time. Does that help at all? See, to me, that helps a little bit. Oh, there we go. I think the lamp is just too bright sometimes, and I still can't figure out how to hold stuff up under the camera. Excuse me for my terrible camera skills. I warned you. I warned you we're in the raw today. There's going to be no fancy zooming in and panning and transitioning. It's just going to be my my smart tart comments and my beautiful personality and my dirty hands. Yeah, I love that. Love that color. Yeah, now don't you love it when you're like you're working on something, and you're not really sure what you're doing. I gotta get some envelopes done. See, I rarely do I ever have. I don't really want to cover up Dream, but I would like to add some of this mellow yellow to this envelope because I am in love with it now. I'm obsessed with this mix of colors, this yellow, mellow yellow. So, anywho, I rarely ever have a plan, right? So I get, down here, and I'm like, okay, I want to do X, Y, Z, but I don't really know. Sometimes I have ideas of how I'm going to execute it. Sometimes I have a plan. Most of the time, I do not have a plan. This is probably not uncommon for most of you. So, oh gosh, that even looks pretty against that. Look at that. It's like a Mai Tai and a gorgeous sunrise mixed together. It's the mellow yellow Mai Tai sunrise. It's gonna be a 12-word name here in a minute. So, the point of my rambling is that when you're working on something and then you're like, okay, I'm going to just put this down or I'm just going to do this. Like how I just decided I'm going to go ahead and sludge these two colors together on my paper over here and then start putting them down. And it's like so gorgeous that you get those tingles. And it makes you happy. And you're like, oh. And then you're going, oh man, I could use this color for the rest of my life. I am not, I have basic color wheel skills. But I will tell you that when I'm sitting here, kind of messing around with it, what happens if I do this? When I'm sitting here kind of messing around with colors and paint and stuff, I am terrible at remembering what makes mud and what makes pretty. And so, yeah, I want to do this. I want it to come in from the corner like this. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And so there are times where I make the mistake of mixing together some colors, that don't look so hot. As an artiste, as a creative person, you would think that by now I would remember and know and not do that. But no, I assure you. So adding the pink to the blue just kind of almost makes it like what I would call a gray blue. Weird. Um. Anyway, so I love it when I find some colors that I kind of, I whip them together and it comes out looking pretty cool. It gives me that. Now I want to use it all the time. That's the other thing that happens too. I get obsessed. I've been obsessed lately with doing journal pages. And I'm not saying Some of them are like more art journal-y, you know, like trying to do techniques and stuff. Some of them are like glue book pages, which I love doing, collaging magazine scraps and stuff together. Like I have this really cool one that just came up out of the blue the other day because I have this like kind of fuchsia background. I guess it was a fuchsia background in my voluptuous violet. And so I had this leftover fluorescent pink paint from something else I was doing. And so I just decided, I wonder how this would look if I scrape it off onto this page here that's already got this, you know, like fuchsia paint on it. And it looks so cool, in my opinion. So then I decided that I wanted to find some magazine scraps that, you know, were, yes, this means I'm having a great time right here. I wanted to find some magazine stuff that was, you know, bright like that, the bright pink. And I did, and I just put this page together that, you know, it's not a piece of gallery art. It's definitely not something I'm selling. That's not why I do this, though. I do it because, you know, I don't care what other people look at it. Like my son, who has he most generously made the comment to me once that one of my pieces of art looked like a kindergartner did it. And it did hurt my single feeling. It hurt it at first, but then I had to remind myself that he is 15 and he is a boy. He could not possibly understand what I'm doing and why. So, my feeling was not hurt for very long. Then I got over it. Sorry, I needed a swig of the Pepsi. I allow myself a Pepsi or two as long as I have done a good job drinking my water at work, because Pepsi is like it's one of my addictions, okay? And I've tried to do the whole drinking diet pop, which I hear is worse for you than just limiting your intake of a regular pop with actual sugar in it. I've tried the no pop thing, and you know, I feel like that if I have my Pepsi, sometimes, you know, it depends on the day. If the day was stressful, or you know, sometimes I have to. But you know, most of the time, that's like my desserts. I don't eat dessert. I'm really not a big sweets person. Once in a while, I want something sweet, like some chocolate, but really, if I have my can of pop, I just love this. I keep looking at it because it is so gosh darn beautiful. I love this mellow yellow color combination. I think you can see it a little bit better now. The yellow in there with the melon. Oh my god, that is smexy. Smexy. I may just, you know, do some more splotchy stuff on the back of this, but just go ahead and leave it mostly manila because I like how what happened was I gessoed my rooster again that I want to put in my Flocking Friendship journal on the inside cover. Since I did the front cover like all steampunk, there's nothing on the front cover other than I've got a little oh my gosh, like a tag thingy that says it's my Flocking Friendship journal. But anywho, I wanted to put a little rooster in there, but I gessoed it, and then I laid this down, you know, on top of the paper, the wax paper, after I picked it up, and it left a little bit of the design on the back of the envelope, and I just love it. So I want to keep it. And I think, I may. I'm going to go ahead and put these aside for now because I pretty much have used up my paint over here. And I have to show you how beautiful it you have to keep in mind that this has red checkers on it. I know that I've told this before, but I don't fully expect that every one of you goes back and watches my old videos. Although I wish you would, because you're missing out if you don't. I'm pretty darn entertaining, if I might say so myself. I love, look at how these turned out, like just from the mixing. My husband was nice enough, because I'd been saying forever that I wanted deli sheets, so he found those at Walmart, deli sheets, that have the kind of plastic backing on them. I guess that's a moisture barrier. But anyway, of course they're red and white checkered, like summer picnic. Um, so I decided, at first I was like, okay, what am I going to do with these? I would have to literally paint a full coat, to give it some kind of a background before I can do anything cool with it, because I don't want the red and white checkers showing through. Um, Obviously, what I was looking for was just deli sheets that are clear. But, God bless my husband, because he was trying to do something nice for me, and he is always, other than sometimes complaining about when I buy craft supplies, um, he is very supportive of my obsession and my hobby. So he picked those up for me, so I couldn't tell him, honey, there's no way I can use these. So they sat here and sat here and sat here. And then finally I decided, okay, I'm just going to start using these to put under things, to catch extra paint, or, put my paint on as palette paper, because I've got some leftover. I've got some palette paper that I was using for a while. So that's pretty much what I do. I have a stack of them over here. I will use them to set things on to dry. And then over time, they will just gather more and more paint on them. And then eventually, I will probably be able to use them for something in a project. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with how those turned out. Again, trying to stick with some spring-like colors. I've got some paint here that's almost empty that I'm trying to use up. I love this color, this Key West color, kind of an aqua light blue. Anyway, I need to use that up so I can go buy me some more. And I see that Hobby Lobby's got their 2-ounce craft paint on sale for 30% off. So as much as I keep talking about converting over to the Master's Touch tube paint, which I love, I don't know, I might go get some color shift paint because it's 30% off, and I love color shift paint, and I've only got the blue, and I want mauve. It never ends for me. I have got to work on my week 15 tag for my Spanky's Crafty Corner. I think it's week 15. Oh my gosh, is it? And I have to look at the prompts, but the sample that I saw on the Facebook page looked really cool. And I saw purple in it, and I saw words that spoke to me. So I'm super excited about it, because I think sometimes I struggle with the prompts. What was my last tag? My last one, yes, was 14. So, okay, this one's funny, so I have to tell you about it because I struggled and struggled and struggled with this one. The theme was April Fool's. The word was funny. The texture or material was Zentangle. And then get this. Here's the colors. The colors were pink, slate blue. I don't have a color called slate blue, so I was like, what is slate blue? So I figured it was kind of a blue-gray color. I had to look it up. Orange. I was not thrilled about that because I have terrible orange paint, right? Grayish green and gray. So I was like, what in the world am I going to do? I literally stood there and swatched colors. I swatched colors out on another piece of paper, so I looked them up. I looked up slate blue. So I made up a slate blue. I made up this gray green. This is what I'm calling this. I used a darker shade of pink than, because at first when I heard pink, I'm just thinking like pastel pink. And I'm like, how is that going to go with orange? And then I think I used, it might have been the melon color for the orange. Or I have another one. What's this? It might have been this coral reef. I don't remember which one it was. But I really liked how these colors came out. And so after I swatched them on another piece of paper, I ended up just cutting those swatches out and piecing them on here rather than painting again. Because A, I'm lazy, and B, why not reuse what I've already done, right? So anyway, but I had a really hard time with this because, the word was April, or the theme was April Fools. The word was funny, and then I had to figure out Zentangle. Well, I ended up, after getting these colors, swatched, I was like, oh, I really want to do something kind of vintage, right? Because to me, it looked kind of vintage. So I went and looked up the history of April Fools because I'm a real nerd like that. I like to learn things. And I found out that, back in the day in France, April Fools literally meant like fish day, April Fish Day, because the custom was like something about throwing a fish on somebody's back. I don't know, but it's all over the internet. And so I found this image of this lady that's vintage looking holding this fish. Yeah, I know. So I drew a little jester hat on him, and the dots I punched out with my hole punch from the paper that was swatched. Did some stamping. So yeah, anyway, I did all that, posted my picture, here's my week 14 tag, and then I was sitting at work like a day later and I realized I never did any Zentangle, because that was the one thing that was really, really stressing me out, because I feel like I have no ability to draw whatsoever, and that includes doodling, which includes Zentangling. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I, posted a picture of this without doing any of the Zentangle, and I can't help it. I love messing with things. And this feels so nice. I've got really soft, like eyelash trim here, and then this ribbon that's got this texture, and yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm a fidgeter. Uh, so then I went back and just added a little bit of Zentangle here and there. I didn't really have a lot of space because I had already stamped quite a bit, and it didn't turn out terrible. But this is a stamp. This over here on this side is a stamp. And then this is the French word for it. Was the Poisson d'Avril. I can't speak French. Poisson d'Avril. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but apparently that's like Happy Fish Day or something. So then I just like wrote something on here that says, I look funny, don't I? And Fred the fish is who said it. I'm guessing I named the fish that she's holding Fred, because I had to use the word funny. Yeah, I know. It's like a mess, but I love it. There's something about it that I like. It's quirky, like me. And so that's why I like it. So yeah, most people that look at it are not going to understand why I have a picture of a woman with a fish, and why I have a quote from the fish, and why I've named the fish Fred. I can't explain any of that to you, other than the picture came up from the, April Fish Day, and that I decided that the fish's name should be Fred, and that he feels like he looks funny. And I love how that I decided to put these tags in this binder, because I'm loving all of the different fluffies that I have coming out the top. So that's really enjoyable for me. Fluffies! Alright guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to cut this one off for now, and I will probably be back at some point to do more dirty raw footage of the dirty paintbrush making messes in the craft dungeon. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and everybody have a great day, and keep those paintbrushes dirty and keep those minds crafty. Keep it up, guys. Love you all. Love all.